We're going to draw our entire deck using Plagon, Lord of the Beach alongside glaring Fleshraker. This is Legacy Paradoxical Outcome. Let's go check it out. In front of you is Legacy Paradoxical Outcome, and this is a donation deck from a Combo Cabal member of our channel, Kaylee Kais. With that tier, you get 1 hour coaching every month, but you also get a free donation deck. Kaylee Kais wanted to see Mono-Blue Legacy Paradoxical Outcome featuring Plagon, Lord of the Beach. So this is a 3-mana value creature for 2 and a blue. When it enters, you draw a card with each creature with a toughness greater than its power, and then you can switch power and toughness. So the idea is that in this deck, alongside glaring Fleshraker, you make a bunch of Eldrazi Spawn tokens that you can then use later on to draw cards with Plagon, Lord of the Beach. But you're really a Paradoxical Outcome strategy. So this card is 4 mana for an instant, 3 and a blue. You can return any number of non-land, non-token creatures to your hand, draw a card for each card, return this way. So it doesn't work super well with glaring Fleshraker, but you can pick up the Plagon, Lord of the Beach to allow yourself to draw through your entire library, which is just insanely awesome. And the primary win condition is this glaring Fleshraker. You're looking to ping your opponent out slowly, or if for some reason you can't use this card, there's always Urza Saga Construct to beat down. That's the backup game plan here. But you're a Force of Will strategy against all the fast combo in the format. You get to do sweet things like draw your entire library. This deck is super fun and super powerful. So Jacob or Kaylee Kais, thank you for submitting this. I really do appreciate your support, and I hope everyone enjoys the deck. If you do, like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. But we're going to make this one quick, and I'll just hop on into match number 1. I will see you there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, cyborg guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to match number 1 with Legacy Paradoxical Outcome combo. Here we go. So we've opened up Force of Will and Paradoxical Outcome. We have Mox, Mox Opal, Lotus Petal. So we're 1 mana away from the One Ring. And if we want to play out the Chrome Mox, we have to imprint either the Force of Will or the Paradoxical Outcome. I think that this is a mulligan because you also can't cast the Kozilek's command off of our artifact mana, so this one's just a little bit weird. This seems fine enough to me. We'll get rid of Plagon, Lord of the Beach. We'll play Sink in a Stupor as a land and pass the turn. Underground Sea into Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. Welcome to Legacy. This is, honestly, it's kind of boring. I've been playing a lot of Legacy, preparing for my, people that support the channel for the Epic Storm and all of these different things. And I face Underground Sea decks like 4 out of 5 matches every league. It's a little draining if I'm being honest, but this is what Legacy is. Grim Monolith. We're playing out the Lotus Petal here to avoid daze. And then we'll play Glaring Fleshraker. So you might be saying, but why? Like, I missed out on a trigger. Yeah, I did miss out on a trigger, but also my spells resolved. Like, playing around days is an important thing to do in Legacy. Verdant Catacombs. They swing, they get to investigate, creating a clue. Sure. Post-combat, they play a Brainstorm. And now the Tamiyo will transform. They plus the Tamiyo, and now we get to take our turn. We'll play a Lotus Petal. This creates an Eldrazi Scion. We'll take 1 damage here. And this is how our deck wins with this Glaring Fleshraker. And now we'll play a Grim Monolith. This will trigger the Glaring Fleshraker again. We'll go to combat and attack the Tamiyo. Okay, the Tamiyo will take 1. Is it better here to sacrifice the Eldrazi Spawns and to play the stock up or tap the Grim Monolith? I think I'd rather have the Eldrazi Spawns in play because it protects my Glaring Fleshraker from Archon of Cruelty. So I'll play stock up here, floating a colorless mana. Okay, I guess we'll take stock up and Manifold Key. We'll play the key. This will trigger the Glaring Fleshraker. And now we'll sacrifice an Eldrazi Spawn. We'll untap the Grim Monolith. Tap it again, and now we'll play another copy of Stock Up floating at colorless. 3 mana available here. Mox Opal Paradoxical Outcome. Okay. Any order. So we'll play the Opal. This triggers the Glaring Fleshraker. And I now have enough mana to Paradoxical Outcome and pay for a daze. So we'll target our 4 artifacts here. Click Done. And now I'll sacrifice 2 Eldrazi Spawn tokens. Paradoxical Outcome for 4. There's a pause here. Do you have Force of Will? No. Okay. Interesting. We'll play the Ancient Tomb. Trying to think here. I can get them really close to dead if I don't play around days here. But I think I'm supposed to play around the days. We'll play Grim Monolith. I mean, I think not playing around days would be reckless, so that's what I'm going to do. We'll play the Glaring Fleshraker. They go to 14. We'll play Mox Opal. Bunch of triggers. And the opponent just concedes. Wow! That was a turn 3 win. That was actually really impressive. I did not expect to win that game that turn. That was just awesome. Alright, so we're likely facing Reanimator. If not Reanimator, you can assume that it's Dimir Tempo, and I guess to a lesser extent Doomsday, but I wouldn't just guess Doomsday in the blind. So we probably want Flusterstorm versus Reanimator. It's good against both of their sides of their deck, because Reanimator is really a tempo deck that has a Reanimator subshell, and Flusterstorm is good against both. We likely want the Soul Guide Lantern, the Tormod's Crypt. I don't know if you're supposed to bring in fairies. Like, that's just so much here. 6 cards. Whoops. And you do have Kozilek's Command, so I think that this deck might actually just have too much graveyard hate in it. Kali Kai sent me a pre-existing list, then asked me to modify the sideboard, and I kind of just assumed that the sideboard had the right amount of graveyard hate, but with the Kozilek's Command in the main deck, I don't know if you're actually able to fit all of this. But you could probably take out the Plagon Lord of the Beaches. You're not going to be able to do the big thing versus Reanimator. I think that's a reasonable take here. And then maybe, this is crazy, but the Force of Wills. Because if you take out Plagon, you're really short on blue cards. So maybe you just like outgrind them and then make sure that they don't get to do the Reanimator thing. And then that makes the sideboard plan work, having all of the graveyard hate. So maybe this was a well thought out sideboard map. So I think this makes sense to me. We'll try it. Okay. And I guess I'll mention this because people are going to leave comments. The shirt that I'm wearing is Wizard of Barge or Wizard of the Barge. It's one of the two. I think it's the first one, Wizard of Barge. I saw it on Twitter and then ended up buying like 4 different shirts from them because they're all just like death metal looking magic shirts, and I thought they were pretty cool. This has no graveyard hate. I mean, it's a hand that plays magic. It's just, I don't think it's a good hand. We'll mulligan. This has no blue mana. Cool. Cool. We'll go to 5. Guess we're going to 4. We'll keep in bottom, Sink in a Stupor, and the Island. Oh, I guess this is a 4. We have to bottom Lotus Petal too. Okay. Undercity Sewer. So I've probably lost this game. I'm willing to accept that. I think the crucial thing now is figuring out, are they Reanimator or are they Dimir Tempo? We'll play the Ancient Tomb, play the Lotus Petal, and Grim Monolith. Pass the turn. Our opponent plays a Ponder. They have a Wasteland, so I'm glad I played the Ancient Tomb first here. They have 6 cards in their hand. We find a Stock Up. I don't think I'm supposed to play that because I have to give up the Grim Monolith in order to do so, and I think my game plan here is Construct Tokens plus like Soul Guide Lantern or something. Would really love to draw an Ancient Tomb for my turn. They play a Ponder. They probably should have pondered before playing their land. In case they did find a Wasteland, they could stop me from making a Construct token. And they did not shuffle on the Ponder. Paradoxical Outcome was not a good draw. I will pass the turn. They fetch with Polluted Delta. And they grab an Underground Sea. There's the Entomb for an Atraxa Grand Unifier. Okay. Hopefully they don't have the Reanimate here. And they do. We'll Kozilek's Command. We'll do exile a card and create a Scion. We'll create the Scion and then we'll exile Atraxa Grand Unifier. Kozilek's Command for 1. I have to imagine they have an answer here. And they do. Okay, we can go to the next game now. We know that they're on Reanimator, which is what we guessed, but now we know. Because if we didn't know, and they actually were like Doomsday or Dimir Tempo, we don't want all of those Graveyard Hate cards in our deck for the third game. We will submit. On the play for game 3. Where are our lands? This deck is not good at drawing lands. Okay, we have to send this back. Once again, no lands. Okay, going to 5. Am I supposed to keep this? Like, it doesn't actually do anything? I don't know. Like, I can't cast the Paradoxical Outcome. There's no Graveyard Hate. I think I'll go to 4. Sure. We'll bottom the Chrome Mox, bottom the Mox Opal, bottom Think in a Stupor, play Ancient Tomb, Grim Monolith. And this isn't me trying to over mulligan. It's the fact that the deck, like, it's high variance. You're a deck with no Ponder, no Brainstorm, no Preordain, no consistency whatsoever. So you're going to have more hands that sometimes just don't do anything. And that's just the nature of the beast. But there was also hands that just like did not interact with the broken combo deck. So now we'll play the One Ring and we can pay for a Daze here. We really need this One Ring to resolve. And it's going to get hit by Force of Will. Okay, we will pass the turn. They play a Brainstorm. They did not play a Fetch Land. They played an Underground Sea and passed the turn. Well, Voltaic Key was like an okay draw here. It was not amazing. They're going to consign to memory the key. Sure. We will pass. They have 3 cards in their hand. Entomb for Atraxa. Wow, so they had Force of Will, consign to memory into Entomb Reanimate. That is powerful magic. Alright, so we got bullied here in match number 1 by the best deck in the format. We had some consistency issues, unfortunately, and, you know, that's sort of just built into how this deck functions. We're 0-1, you got to see the highs and lows, but maybe we'll be a little bit more consistent in the remaining 4 rounds. Stick around and watch those. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Round number 2, we're on the play. Hopefully we bounce back and have a little bit of a better match. Ooh, we have lands. How about that? We will keep having lands. That's insane. Technically, this deck has more lands than the Epic Storm. There's 17 lands if you count Sink in a Stupor. So maybe it was bad luck. I'm not so sure. But the Epic Storm also has more ways to draw cards, so you get to look at those lands a little bit more often. Our opponent mulliganed and kept 6. We'll play the Ancient Tomb and Grim Monolith. That immediately resolved. Okay, let's pass the turn. I have no idea what they're playing. City of Traders, okay. Lotus Petal. If this is the Mystic Forge combo deck, we're in trouble. I don't know if our deck can beat the Mystic Forge combo deck. I guess you'd have to like Force of Will every card in the Great Creator. Okay, well it's certainly not Mystic Forge combo. This might be Black Saga Storm. And in Ad Nauseam, this is in fact Black Saga Storm. Okay, they've already played their land, Mox Opals, Lotus Petal, Wishclaw Talisman, Beseech Dimir, Infernal Tutor. Infernal Tutor, they're at 5 life. There's nothing that kills them here. Cabal Ritual. So that does it. Because they can... Well, I guess they had a diamond in hand already. Well, you should have cracked the diamond in response to the Ad Nauseam. I think that was a risky move. But we lose game number 1. Bummer. Alright, so we're facing Storm. We probably want Consign to Memories. We want the Fluster Storms. Maybe a Soul Guide Lantern. Like, they are a Guy's Will deck, but they're not really a deck that leverages the graveyard a ton. We'll board out the Plagon Lord of the Beach. It's just not that style of matchup. We're currently at 63 cards. And I do think that we are the control deck in the matchup. Maybe you're supposed to take out a couple copies, or at least 1 Chrome Mox. Maybe you take out the extra key. And now we're at 61. I wonder if it's crazy to board out a land. Alright, goodbye island. We'll try this. On the play for game number 2. Oh, this one's risky. I'm going to keep it. I understand I could die. There's no blue card for my Force of Will. We'll play the Seat of the Synod and play a Soul Guide Lantern. Pass the turn. They play a Vault of Whispers, Mox Opal, Chrome Mox, okay. Imprints, what is that? Thoughtseize? Tendrils of Agony. Dark Ritual. Do you have the one of Ad Nauseam again? Is that what this is? They have the one of Ad Nauseam 2 games in a row. Wow. Okay. Props to them. Ah, brutal. The Ad Nauseam really is a singleton, but our opponent just opened up with Hardcast Ad Nauseam from hand 2 games in a row here. And they have enough to kill me. I guess the Tendrils of Agony is underneath Chrome Mox, so we might as well make them go through it. They play Lion's Eye Diamond. So they do have they usually play 1 Burning Wish that they can go grab. So they can Burning Wish and then use the sideboard Tendrils of Agony. That's how we're going to die here. Now they play a Cabal Ritual. Sure. I mean, they could go Duress, Infernal Tutor, crack Lion's Eye Diamond for black-red, Burning Wish, Tendrils of Agony, and that's the game. They're going to Thoughtseize down to 2 life instead of playing Duress. Sure. They take the Force of Will. And now they Infernal Tutor. They sacrifice Lion's Eye Diamonds for black and red. And there's the one of Burning Wish. And they do grab the sideboard Tendrils of Agony, so that is the match. We are quickly 0-2 with this Mono-Blue Paradoxical Outcome deck. Not the way I wanted to start the league. Maybe we'll get match number 3. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $15.99. This token combo pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens featuring classic Storm and Mana tokens with new inclusions such as our modern Ruby Storm package, but that's not all. Our token pack covers a variety of formats from Pauper to CDH with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Can we get a match win? Hopefully the answer is yes. We're on the play for game number 3 or match number 3. Once again, no lands. This is awkward. Well, mulligan. So we have a turn 1 Grim Monolith and then nothing. Am I supposed to keep this and hope that we draw mana? I think we're supposed to go to 5. Okay, so if I bottom Stock Up and Chrome Mox, can't play the Outcome, can't play the One Ring. So if this was a 7, this would be a good hand, or even a 6. I think we keep it. Bottom the Stock. What if we bottom the Petal, because that does allow us to play the One Ring on turn 2? Oh no, I can't play the... I messed up. I can't play... I was supposed to bottom the Opal. We'll just pass. I don't have Metalcraft for the Mox Opal, so I was supposed to keep the Lotus Petal instead of the Mox Opal because it allows me to play the One Ring on turn 2, but I only have 1 mana. The opponent has a Commercial District. They kept a card on top, so this is either lands or the Epic Storm. There's an Ancient Tomb. We'll play the Grim Monolith, play Mox Opal, throw Mox, imprint the Paradoxical Outcome. Actually, no. We'll hold it. Let's just play the One Ring, and then we'll pass the turn. Alright, well, it's neither deck that I guessed. It's not lands or the Epic Storm. Is this Ruby Storm? I think it's Ruby Storm. Hollow One? I don't know anything anymore. Yeah, you got it. I guess it could be the, there was like a Hollow One Vengevine deck with like Burning Inquiry and stuff like that. It could be that. Alright, Vengevine and Detective's Phoenix. Sure. End step, we'll draw using the One Ring. We draw an island. The One Ring makes us lose a life. We draw another land. We'll draw 2 off the One Ring. That was not particularly good. So if I play the Ancient Tomb, I can tap the Opal for a blue, play Paradoxical Outcome for 4, floating a colorless, and then I can play out the Chrome Mox to then play the Grim Monolith, play the Opal, and then replay the One Ring. That makes sense to me. So we will Paradoxical Outcome for 4. We drew a Lotus Petal. I'll play the Chrome Mox, imprint the Force of Will. So now I can play the Grim Monolith. So if I play the Glaring Fleshraker, I should be able to play the One Ring. We'll play the Glaring Fleshraker because Lotus Petal is essentially 2 mana with the Glaring Fleshraker, then Mox Opal's another 2. So that means I should be able to cast the One Ring this turn. So now we'll play the Mox Opal again. Now we'll sacrifice our Eldrazi Spawn tokens and replay the One Ring. They're at 17. Trigger, we gain protection from everything. We'll draw a card. Plagon, Lord of the Beach. Will I actually cast it? Who knows? I don't have a whole lot of Eldrazi Spawns right now. Goblin Lore, sure. Their marauding Makos are quite large. 6/6 shark pirate creatures. But I still have protection from everything. So we'll lose a life to the One Ring. Another copy of the One Ring. Let's draw 2. That was not particularly good. We'll go to 10, and let's play Stock Up. We'll take Kozilek's Command and Manifold Key. We'll go to 8. We'll play the Manifold Key. And now we'll untap the Grim Monolith. I suppose I'll play the Ancient Tomb. This is going to put me to 6, which is not fun, but I would like to Kozilek's Command for as much as I can here. I will leave the Mox Opal untapped. So I'm going to cast the Kozilek's Command, and we'll scry X and draw cards and then make spawns. So target myself, where X is going to be equal to 5 here. We'll take the Paradoxical Outcome. Actually, hold on. Yeah, I think we only want the Paradoxical Outcome here. So they'll take 5. And you could play the Plagon Lord of the Beach here to draw 4. But that doesn't win the game right now. So I think instead I'll Outcome and I might Plagon later. And we'll pick up all of our artifacts. So we'll draw 5 cards here. Play out the Mox Opal. We'll go to 9. Sacrifice 2 Eldrazi Spawns. We'll play the Grim Monolith. I'm pretty sure they're just dead this turn. And I don't need to play the Plagon Lord of the Beach. Another Grim Monolith. They go to 7. Tap it for mana. We'll play a Voltaic Key. Trigger. They go to 6 life. We'll tap the Mox Opal for blue, and then we'll play another. This will put them to 5 life because of the Glaring Fleshraker. We'll keep the new one. We'll play a Manifold Key here. They'll go to 4. Okay, and now we'll play Chrome Mox. Long pause here. And then they conceded. Okay. I won't lie, if they didn't concede, I was thinking about playing Plagon Lord of the Beach there just to say that I played it in a match. Alright, so they are a Vengevine deck. We could bring in the Soul Guide Lantern and Tormod's Crypt. Maybe even the Fairy Macabres too. And then I think, this is crazy, I want to board out the Force of Wills. Like, I don't see myself wanting to counter any of their spells outside of, like, maybe Force of Vigor, because we saw green, but I don't think they're playing Force of Vigor. We'll try this. Sure, this seems sweet. Actually, Plagon draws 1 card. Is that actually good? Let's think about this for a moment. We're on the draw. I think we're supposed to send it back. This is better. We'll keep and get rid of the second copy of Plagon Lord of the Beach. Prismatic Vista, sure. A little odd to see in your Commercial District deck, because we saw the Commercial District in game number 1. They have double Root Walla here. So the Madness rule changed years ago. When I was a kid, when you discarded cards for Madness, they went to the graveyard and then went into play. Now there's like an invisible Madness zone, so they're not in the graveyard. We draw Sink in a Stupor. We'll play Ancient Tomb, play the Grim Monolith, and we'll pass. Basic Forest. Okay, they play an Inti, some word I'm not going to be able to pronounce, of the sun. And they discard a Detective's Phoenix. And we'll take some damage here. Yep. Glaring Fleshraker. Okay. We'll play that. Play Lotus Petal. This will trigger the Glaring Fleshraker. And I think I'm going to use the Lotus Petal to play the Stock Up here. Stock Up. I think we take another Stock Up and Chrome Mox. The Paradoxical Outcome just doesn't have enough cards yet. And then we'll play the Chrome Mox. Imprint the Sink in a Stupor. Play Urza Saga as our land for the turn. And then we'll play the Stock Up. Ooh, hold on. If I take Key One Ring, I can play the Key, trigger, untap, and I guess I'm 1 mana short of playing the One Ring this turn. Okay, but I still think I want Manifold Key and the One Ring. So I'll sacrifice this Eldrazi Spawn. We'll play the Manifold Key. Pass the turn. They play a Taiga. And now they attack. They discarded an Angie's Ravager to the Inti. And now They can play it for its madness cost, and they do. So now the Root Wallet is a 3/3, and then they can play the top card of their deck, which is apparently a Vengevine. I will block. Actually, it doesn't make sense to block. The creature has trample. So I'll just take 3 down to 10. End step, we'll sacrifice the token and untap the Grim Monolith. Okay. First, the Saga goes to the second chapter. Untap the Grim Monolith. Tap the Grim Monolith. We'll play the One Ring. This creates an Eldrazi Scion, and then we'll draw off the One Ring. We do gain protection, which is nice. Play Lotus Petal. So it looks like we're actually going to play Plagon, Lord of the Beach in a meaningful way here. And looks like I'll draw 4 cards off of it, which is pretty cool. And now we'll play the Plagon, Lord of the Beach. Draw 4. Not bad. We'll play Tormod's Crypt. Trigger. We're at 12. We'll play another Urza Saga. Play out the Chrome Mox. Make another blocker here. No imprint. They can't use the Detective's Phoenix yet, so I don't think we need to play it out. And I'll pass the turn. They play a Goblin Lord, discard 4, draw 3, draw 4, discard 3 at random. It looks like they discard a Vengevine. I think this might be a good spot to use the Tormod's Crypt before they can play another creature. They play a Prismatic Vista, down to 10, and another Goblin Lore. Discards an Ancient Grudge. And now they can attack with the NG's Ravager. But it's just for the trigger. It can't do damage because I have protection from the One Ring. And they'll discard a bunch of Root Wallas here. And a Ox of Agonis. So that was worth the attack, in my opinion. That was a good attack. Like, this deck is very cool. It's very reminiscent of the vintage deck with less interaction. There's a vintage deck with Bazaar of Baghdad where you play a bunch of Root Wallas, Hollow Ones, stuff like that. But then you also have like Mindbreak Traps and Force of Wills and Force of Negations and Force of Vigors, stuff like that. So this deck, because you don't have Bazaar of Baghdad, has to play a bunch of discard outlets. So you lose out on the interaction. We'll lose the life to the One Ring. I don't think making a construct token matters here. So I will just tap for mana. We'll go grab another key so that way we can draw cards off of Urza's Saga. I'm sorry, off of the One Ring. Another copy of the One Ring. We'll use Manifold Key to untap the One Ring. Now we can draw 3. A lot of lands. Holy moly. We'll untap the One Ring again. Draw 4. Okay, that probably wins. We'll sacrifice a couple Eldrazi Spawns. And we'll play another Glaring Fleshraker. So they'll take 1 down to 9 here. And they can see the match. Okay, well, we got our first match win. We are now 1-2. Let's go get the final 2 rounds. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. The 4th match. We're on the play. Hopefully we get another win here. Ooh. Once again, this deck is just so mana hungry, and I don't think it plays enough mana. Ah, that's a bummer. We have to mulligan. So we have Ancient Tomb, a Mox Opal that's not active, Paradoxical Outcome that can only return 1 card. Not that we can cast it. I think we have to go to 5. Unless you're supposed to keep these sketchy hands and just cross your fingers. I mean, do we keep this? Maybe? Bottom the Outcome in the Glaring Fleshraker and hope that this gets it done? I know that Kelly Kai's took this deck from like a Magic Online deck dump or whatever. I just think that like it needs mana. That's my big thing here. Like it just feels incredibly mana hungry with not enough actual lands in the deck. Guide of Souls, okay. So now our Saga will go to the 2nd chapter. We did not draw a land, so we cannot make a construct. Brutal, so we'll play the Voltaic Key, and now our Opal's active. I guess I couldn't make a construct with a regular land anyway because the Opal wasn't active. 3 mana here for an Ajani. Okay. Yeah, so they're doing the energy thing. Ouch. And now we're going to lose our Urza Saga. Is there anything I can grab here that is meaningful? I can't grab another Opal. I can't grab Chromox because I don't have any cards in my hand that are colors, so I think I have to grab Lotus Petal. And I can't even play the Kozilek's command. So if I wanted, I could Glaring Fleshraker down to 1 mana source and hope it doesn't get answered. I guess so. This does not feel particularly good to me. We'll play the Glaring Fleshraker, pass. If this gets swordsed or hit by Solitude, I'm going to concede. Joke's on you, I don't have lands anyway. Well, they do have a Swords to Plowshares. We can go to the next one. Brutal. That hurt my feelings. Okay, so we'll try to get game number 2. Bring in the Chain of Vapors, because they often have things like Stony Silence and stuff like that. Maybe the Dismembers. I've seen Thalia, Guardian with Raven out of these style of decks in the past. Take out the Plagons. I just don't think that we're going to have time to play those. Maybe 1 Paradoxical Outcome? Maybe that's wrong. I don't know what to board out here for the final card. This is crazy. I'm going to board out 1 Force of Will. Like, they're a deck full of a bunch of creatures. Force of Will probably isn't great. We're boarding in creature answers already. We'll try it. I don't want to board out mana. Like, that's the last thing I want to do. We have Urza Saga again. I can Chrome Mox, imprint the Force of Will. So I can play a turn 1 Glaring Fleshraker. I guess that's going to have to be good enough. At this point, I'm afraid to mulligan because I feel like it only gets worse. We'll play Urza Saga, play the Chrome Mox, imprint the Force of Will, play the Lotus Petal, and I have to play... I guess I don't have to. Okay, so we could play it like this, I guess. Glaring Fleshraker, play the Opal. They take 1, and now I can play the Manifold Key. No hand. Boom. They have an Arid Mesa, Gray Plateau, and they tear my Urza Saga. Well, that's just rude. We draw a stock up. We'll cast it. The One Ring Angrim Monolith. Attack for 2. They're at 15. Arid Mesa for a basic Plains. Swords to Plowshares. Okay. And a Guide of Souls. They have 4 cards remaining in their hand. We'll play the Grim Monolith. Tap it for 3. Untap it using the Manifold Key. And now I can play the One Ring, floating a colorless. We have protection from everything. We'll draw a card. Pass the turn. Static Prison. You are a mean, mean person. Now they have an Ocelot Pride. I've never seen this card before. You could sacrifice a creature to add a mana of any color. Or you could sacrifice a desert and exile target creature card with mana value X from your graveyard and create a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. Okay. We draw Seat of the Synod. We'll untap the Grim Monolith. And we'll Kozilek's command here for 2. Yeah, we'll do it for 2. Leave open the Mox Opal. I think I want to exile the Guide of Souls. Actually, hold on. We'll do it for 3. I was thinking I was going to do 3 modes there. I'm legally not allowed to. So we'll exile a creature 3 or less, and then we'll scry X and draw. Target ourselves, exile the Guide of Souls. We'll take the stock up. Actually, hold on. That's not how this works. Dismember goes on the bottom. Actually, yeah, that's fine. We'll keep both of these. Actually, do I need another stock up? Probably not. I'm only going to keep the Paradoxical Outcome here. Pass. So now the Static Prison has no energy left, so they would need another way to create energy here, or else next turn I'll get back my One Ring. They attack for 2, I'll go to 20. They have a Wasteland, and they go to the end step. Sure, so next turn I will get back the One Ring. We'll untap the Grim Monolith, play the Lotus Petal, and now we can Paradoxical Outcome for 5. Here we go. They have 2 cards in hand. It resolves, so we draw 5. Play out the Lotus Petal, Mox Opal, play the Chrome Mox, exile Sink into Stupor, we'll play Grim Monolith, Manifold Key, untap the Grim Monolith, tap, so now we're up to 4 colorless. I'll play Sink into Stupor as my land for the turn, I'll go to 17, and we're going to Paradoxical Outcome for 5 again. This time we have a mana floating, and we hit a Glaring Fleshraker. But the risk is if they're sitting on another copy of Swords to Plowshares. I'll play the Chrome Mox, imprint, Sink into Stupor, play the Grim Monolith, play the Glaring Fleshraker, play Lotus Petal, triggers. Okay. No Swords to Plowshares yet. Mox Opal, and now we'll play the Manifold Key. They're at 14. sacrifice a Spawn to untap the Grim Monolith using the Manifold key. So I can either play the One Ring and accept that we're passing here, or I could try to stock up. I think the One Ring is just safer. Although we are getting a One Ring back over there on their turn, but I won't have protection. But maybe the protection doesn't matter when they only have 3. You know what? I've talked myself into it. We're playing stock up. 1 colorless floating. We hit another outcome. So I'm 1 mana short here of casting the Paradoxical Outcome. But if I take the Chain of Vapor, I could sacrifice the Lotus Petal, bounce the Mox Opal. I think we could get there. We'll do this. Okay. So I will now Chain of Vapor my Mox Opal, sacrifice the land. We'll pick up the Pearl Mox, I guess. It doesn't really matter here. Play the Mox Opal, make another Eldrazi Spawn. We'll play the Chrome Mox. No imprint because I can't. Tap for a blue. And now we'll Paradoxical Outcome for 4. We have a colorless mana floating. Play the Mox Opal. And now I can play Grim Monolith. Play another Glaring Fleshraker. Okay. Well, hold on. Hold on. It was trying to untap itself. I didn't want that. I wanted to play the Glaring Fleshraker. And now we'll sacrifice the Spawn. Oh, okay, they conceded. Alright, so going to game 3 now. No changes. Resubmit. Yeah, this is the sort of hand that I thought I would be keeping when I registered this deck today. Like, this is a fine hand. Turn 1 Force, with turn 1 the One Ring, you have a removal spell for creatures. There's a lot to like here. No, 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 no. You don't get to have Deafening Silence. I'm sorry. Get that out of here. We'll play the Ancient Tomb, Grim Monolith, Lotus Petal, and the One Ring. I'm sorry, now we'll draw a card. We'll take He Was Fine. They play a second copy of Plateau and Disruptor Flute. So this is going to be able to name our One Ring. Okay, we do have 2 copies of Chain of Vapor in the deck. Paradoxical Outcome. Well, I would need blue mana for that. We'll untap the Grim Monolith. Pass the turn. They play Arid Mesa, and now they have Wear on my Grim Monolith. This is just rude stuff. Is this Energy or Red-White Prison? Come on. Come on. Glaring Fleshraker that I can no longer play will have to pass. They fetch with the Arid Mesa for an Elegant Parlor and an Amped Raptor. And it hits a Clarion Conqueror. Yeah, you don't get to... I'm glad that one's in exile. F that card. So I'll go to 12 off the One Ring. Ay. Remember that whole mana hungry thing I was talking about? Even if we were able to activate the One Ring for 2, we wouldn't have hit mana anyway. Another Amped Raptor into another Clarion Conqueror. This person just hates fun. So I can kill it with an end-step Dismember, but we're almost dead. So that puts me to 10. I have to lose 6 life. I'm pretty sure there's no winning from here. But I guess I can, before I die, I can take out the Clarion Conqueror, because F that card. Alright, so I'm at 4. I'll go to 3 because of the One Ring, and I don't think there's one draw that gets me out of this. So even if I stock up going to 1, I don't think there's even perfects that get me out of this. So we could do Mox Opal, Chain of Vapor. So we'll play the Opal, tap it for blue. We'll bounce our own, sack the Ancient Tomb, bounce the Flute. And now if they second land a copy, I can draw 2 in response. Hopefully they don't, though. And it looks like they're going to. So I can draw 2 cards. And that's not enough to keep me in it. Okay, so we end up losing, and we are now 1-3. I'm not feeling so good about this deck, if I'm being completely honest. I think the idea is really cool. I just think that there's some deck building stuff going on, and we'll talk about that at the end. But let's go play match number 5. The Gold Sabertooth times the Epic Storm collection has arrived with 3 full-size tokens showcasing the beloved Dark Ritual, CDH Rogsai, and Legacy the Epic Storm for just $5. On the backs of these tokens, there's a place for my signature or a custom message. In addition to these sweet tokens, a friendly reminder that all orders that ship from theepicstorm.com also come with a signed Storm token from yours truly. The 5th and final round with Mono-Blue Paradoxical Outcome and Legacy. We're on the play. Alright, so we have Force of Will, we have Urza Saga plus Ancient Tomb, we have Glaring Fleshraker to follow up. There's a lot to like here I'll keep. We'll play the Ancient Tomb and pass. So next turn, I would like to play Urza Saga and a Glaring Fleshraker, and then we just start making construct tokens after that. So we're presenting them with 2 threats. Worst case scenario, they wasteland my Ancient Tomb, and then we do nothing. It looks like we're facing the beloved Legacy combo deck Oops All Spells. That's not great for me. Alright, so I will Force of Will this, so that way they don't know what my hand is. And at least they have to respect me possibly having something. They now play a Lotus Petal and a Cabal Therapy, so they will know my hand. They have 4 cards remaining, and they name Force of Will. So my Force of Will protection line, at least got another resource out of them with the Lotus Petal. Mox Opal will play the Urza Saga, and now we'll play Glaring Fleshraker. We have to hope that they don't have the turn 2 win, because they burned the Lotus Petal. And now we'll pass. Land number 2, Dark Ritual, so they do have the turn 2 win. So they had a double protected turn 2 win. Strong. Alright, that hurts. And they're on the, air quotes, mono black list. And they'll have enough to play Dread Return here, so we can just pick it up. Okay. We do have a bunch of graveyard hate in the sideboard, so we'll bring that all in. Soul Guide Lantern, Needle, Tormod's Crypt, Fairy Macabre. I don't know about the Flusterstorms, they're reasonable, but we'll bring them in for now, and then consign to memory. Take out Plagon, Lord of the Beach. We're just going to try to become a control deck at this point. Probably the Paradoxical Outcomes. 64 cards. Maybe get rid of the Chrome Moxen now that we're no longer a Paradoxical Outcome deck. 62 cards. Maybe take out a couple of the keys. We'll try this. Hopefully it's good enough. On the play. Sure. I don't love this. They mulligan to 6. We'll play Ottawara Soaring City and pass the turn. They play Boggart Trawler as a land. Cabal Ritual. I will Flusterstorm. So the reason I'm playing Flusterstorm here is if they play an Undercity Informer, I can't Flusterstorm that, so we need to go after the mana with the Flusterstorms. They have 4 cards left. We did not draw a land for the Grim Monolith, so we will pass. They play another land. The Lotus Petal, 3 cards remain. And the Undercity Informer. I think I need to Force of Will this. Okay, there's 2 cards left in their hand. Another Grim Monolith. Okay. I just need mana. They have 3 cards in their passing. There we go. Play the Grim Monolith. And then we'll play another Grim Monolith. And Mox Opal. Pass the turn. So this way I have both Flusterstorm and Kozilek's Command open. They play land number 4, 3 cards. Stock up. A little risky. I'll play the stock up here. Take the Fairy Macabre and Urza Saga. So I don't have Flusterstorm online, but I do have 2 pieces of Graveyard Hate available, and I think that's okay. Draw for turn. Sink into Stupor. We will just draw and pass here. On the end step, we'll make a Construct token. Cabal Therapy. Sure. They name Force of Will, which I do not have. End step, we'll use the Urza Saga. We draw another Urza Saga. Actually, hold on. I'd like to use the Mox Opal, because if they have an end step Force of Vigor, I want my blue land to still be untapped. We'll grab a Soul Guide Lantern. Exile the Undercity Informer, because they play 1 Reanimate. And, like, I'm not afraid of them casting a creature and then Cabal Therapy. They conceded the game, so now we're off to game number 3. It worked in game 2, we'll send it back. Can we finish this with a dazzling 2-3 record and half my play points back? This game will decide. We have Force of Will. We have Kozilek's Command as additional Graveyard Hate, but I would need more mana. I mean, I'm going to keep this. It might not work. Lotus Petal and Thoughtseize. I mean, if you have a protected turn 1, you have a protected turn 1. They take the Force of Will, the Lotus Petal, and I'm dead on turn 1 with protection. Cool. That is Oops All Spells. So we lost. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Mulligan to double protection? There's a reason that this deck should probably be banned. So we went 1-4. Not the best record. Kelly Kais, thank you for the donation deck. Unfortunately, I don't think it's a particularly good one. If I was to work on this deck, I would probably cut the Plagon Lord of the Beaches. I know that they're really cool with the Glowing Fleshraker, but ultimately a little bit win more. What I would be interested in is more mana. So it's interesting because I think like you have some powerful top end. Like you have 16 real action spells of Stock Up, the One Ring, Paradoxical Outcome, and Kozilek's Command. Where I think I would make some adjustments is I would like to see like Mox Opal number 4, maybe another Chrome Mox or 2, and then you're really low on blue count because then you'll have 4 Stock Up, 4 Synchronous Stupor, 4 Paradoxical Outcome, and 4 Force of Will. And obviously, that's a little bit low. So I think something you could look at, and maybe this is instead of the additional mana, I'm not sure because I'm not an expert with this deck, but I would look at what the vintage decks play. I would play Thundertrap Trainer, and you'd have to figure out how to do that. I'm not exactly sure if it's cutting. Like, the thing is, I feel like this deck needs a bunch of mana. Like, maybe you're supposed to only play 2 keys. I'm not sure. But Thundertrap Trainer could dig for Grim Monolith or dig for your Mox Opals and that sort of thing. And maybe that helps reduce some of the mana hungriness of the deck. I'm not sure. But I think Thundertrap Trainer is a missed opportunity and would probably be very good in the main deck. So somebody smarter than me can figure that out, but I would play the Thundertrap Trainer here. In the sideboard, I thought maybe it was too much graveyard hate. If I was to cut anything, I'd probably cut the Tormod's Crypt and then just leave the Soul Guide Lantern and the Fairy Macabres. But that's likely the only change I would make. I'm not even sure what I would play instead of the Tormod's Crypt. It's just, it feels like a lot to have 5 graveyard hate spells despite losing on turn 1 to Oops All Spells. So that's my feedback. Hopefully everyone, found something entertaining about this video despite the poor record. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, keep storming. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel. After you do that, open up our description where you can find all of our social media networks, including our Discord, where you can discuss today's deck in that Discord with me and tons of other combo masterminds. It's absolutely free to join, and it's certainly worth your while.